Hey everyone, it's Julianne Meyer, your favorite host of Own Your Wellness. Happy Thanksgiving. I can't believe it's already Thanksgiving. Oh my goodness, that means it's almost Christmas time. Of course, I've seen like a trillion decorations up already. Well, if you don't know me, I'm a health and well-being coach and I'm based in Southern California, and I love to help people with their nutrition, their exercise, their mindset, all that fun stuff. And because of that, I have decided that today, since it's Thanksgiving, I want to have a very, very, very special friend of mine, Christina Papandrea, and she and I are going to have such a good conversation. And we're so glad that you took a little bit of time out from eating pumpkin pie and watching football. So we'll be with you in just one moment. Welcome back. Once again, Julianne here, and I am just to bring out this young lady. She and I just think the world of her, and I know that you'll too. I've said this about another one of my friends, but she embodies this even more. She's sunshine in a body. Anyway, without further ado, there's Miss Christina. Hello.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. Hello. Happy Thanksgiving.
We're so excited to have you here today. Obviously, you know each other, but not everybody knows you. And instead of doing like the whole running through your bio, I would love it if you would just share with the guests a little bit about you and your wellness journey.
Perfect. So my name is Christina Papandrea. I actually was originally born in Australia. So my grandparents, Italian, went to Australia, born there, made my family, blah, blah, blah. My dad sought out more opportunity and was like, I really want my family not to just stay in Australia. So we moved to Massachusetts. And then after living there for like 6-7 years, my mom actually wanted to move back to Australia, but to ease the conflict between the two of them, because my dad was like, no, like we're in America, let's stay in this country. Like, look how much our kids have grown. California became the compromise location, which worked to my benefit for my career path anyways, which is performing arts, dance, musical theater, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, coming to California was nothing but a blessing for myself and my family. Family from Australia could easily come to us. So went to high school out here, went to college out here for dance, graduated, signed with an agent, performed. Julie has come to my performances, which has been fantastic. And yeah, just through my early 20s and whatnot, kind of went through a roller coaster of finding my wellness and some self-sabotage battles and whatnot, but still found my way to the other side, which ultimately made a brighter, more well version of who I was even before that real journey kind of started happening in my life. So I'm excited to be here and talk and learn and grow and all that stuff.
Well, we're excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this. I know I said this to you, but I want the audience to know that because this thing, I wanted to pick somebody that I'm grateful for and that is special to me. And the first person I thought of was Christina. And so I am so glad that taking time out of her day.
Me too.
And it was likewise. Yes. So, you are a dancer and you're so talented. And so there's something about movement. It's more than just movement that keeps you healthy. Can you explain to our audience kind of, I don't know, like, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but do you end up in some sort of like zone when you're dancing and performing?
Oh, 100%. When you're learning the material, sometimes it can be different because you're focused on the choreographer's vision or the director's vision and kind of capturing the essence of what they want you to do. But once you're able to be on stage, or once you're able to just turn on music in your home and just dance, you do enter this meditative state of just moving and movement, similar to when people are in the gym doing their reps, right? Like sometimes you're so focused on what you're doing in the gym. This is me doing like chest presses, but like you're so focused on doing the motion and you're so in this meditative state that everything around you is gone. And the same experience 100% happens when I'm dancing, which is why when I'm not moving and when I'm not active and when I'm not dancing, I do slip into a hole of sadness. Not necessarily depression, but definitely a hole of like something isn't right. I turn on some music, I dance, and I'm fine because all that was missing was just that creative energy, the movement. Yeah. So
No, I just love that because for me, there's a guy, his name's Preston Smiles, and he's, I guess, a success coach. But anyway, I saw him on a summit that I was attending, and he sets up these things called joy alarms. And in his phone, like I think it's 6 times a day, alarm goes off, and he turns on some music and just dances for like a minute.
my gosh, I love that.
I knew you'd like that because I'll tell you, even for me, and I'm obviously not a professional dancer, but doing that just instantly makes me present and changes my mood and just like it's uplifting. And if you pick a happy song, then all of a sudden it's kind of like, woo!
Oh yeah. And even just like branching off of that and just going back to the roots of being human. You look at like a 2-year-old or you look at a child and there's music, the first thing they start doing is like bouncing and they're vibing with the music and they don't even know that their bodies are like feeling what's around them. So like it's human to want to move and it's human to want to dance, and obviously like tangent, but culturally as well, like we don't even realize here in our country that music that sounds happy and exciting in other cultures might sound sad to where we are in America, if that makes sense. So there are cultures where it almost sounds like a melancholy song, but to them and in their culture, it's happy and it's uplifting and that gets them moving. So just to appreciate what that happy, joyous sound is, not just for our culture here, but for other cultures as well, is important to note just for those that are wanting to vibe. It's not always the same music and sound, and even the vibe and the feeling of the music can be different too.
So when you say though, you kind of just have to pick I'm talking to like the average person who's looking to uplift their mood or, get some more movement into their life, because a lot of people think of exercise as going to the gym and reps and like burpees and, all these things that people despise. I mean, I don't, but I mean, not everybody like it. And it's not an all or nothing, or it has to look a certain way. So I love that you're saying that, because at the very least, you're getting up and moving your body around,
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I highly recommend, like, I've been using the song Fireworks, specifically Fireworks by Katy Perry, teaching for the past 4 years when I'm doing sit-ups, because I don't want my students necessarily thinking that the reason that we're doing sit-ups is because we need to get toned abs and we need to have a perfect body. It has nothing to do with that. But as a dancer, it's to build that inner core. But I feel like that song is like, baby, you're a firework. Like, regardless of who you are and what your body looks like, we are all explosive, beautiful creatures. So to teach that and to use pop music sometimes to share that with my students and you guys right now, my audience, is huge. So just be mindful that there's no such thing as perfect, and what you're working on internally will ultimately radiate regardless. So
something I want to touch on, and go as deep as you want to or as shallow as you want to with this one, because it is a little personal. So because you are a dancer, you are also in an industry. I mean, obviously you're in shape. I mean, obviously you are, but that doesn't mean that you look at yourself the way that you actually physically appear, or even how your body feels. So how do you work with those little demony voices that are telling you that you're less than, or like you said, like, I love the fact that you brought up that you play fireworks when they're doing sit-ups, because like, it's not necessarily about how you look. It's about, you only get one body. You don't get another. You don't get a spare. So how do you work with those little voices? Because there's a lot of people out there that aren't professional dancers, and they don't.
I mean, it's an ongoing battle that I still wake up with every single day. It's not something that goes away, unfortunately. But how you manage and how you work with those voices is another thing. And that's it in and of itself, is they are just voices. Your thoughts don't necessarily define you, and your thoughts aren't necessarily you anyway. We don't know what thoughts are. Nobody knows what a thought is. They're flying in all day, every day. But what is that thought? So the moment that I have a thought sometimes of like, oh, I feel fat, or I feel this, or I feel that, I need to pause. So step one is always to just pause. So I literally will like sit there and I'm like, okay, what is going on? And then I come up with alternatives on how to break the habit that I want to do. So for me, it's not even necessarily starving myself when it comes to like the dancered, disordered body image, all that type of stuff. It's more so I feel like I know that if I restrict myself eating, I will lose weight, I will be tinier, I will feel more than if I'm tinier, which is false. It's all false. So I pause and I think of, okay, what can I do? I have pasta in the fridge, fresh pasta, ricotta, delicious, yummy. I'm going to eat that for dinner tonight. So I reward myself with something that I wouldn't normally do if I was going to be self-harming, if that makes sense. So yesterday even, I was having a moment in a day where I was like, you know, I feel like I'm bloated. I was sick the past week. I'm not feeling necessarily 100% better yesterday. So I woke up and I'm like, oh man, like if I didn't eat today, I might feel better. My body might feel better. I literally was like, no, Christina, this is dumb. You're not going to do that. You have fresh pasta in there that you know that you're going to enjoy. It's going to nourish your body. Make it and eat it and enjoy. So I did. I made it. I ate it. And I was not just eating it, but I was mindful with every bite that I was taking and knowing that every bite I was taking was nourishing my body, making my hair healthy, making my skin healthy, making my insides healthy. It's not just about the eating disorder side of it, but just it's hard to explain, but recognizing that food is fuel and it's something to keep us going and alive. Like we need it. So that was kind of all over the place, but I hope that made some sense.
No, it definitely did. And I was actually following your train of thought. So I'm sure other people are as well, which actually reminds me, I do want to say hello to our guests and say thank you for joining us. Christina, I tend to sometimes forget to say hello and I feel so bad, but I get so into the conversation and it's like, so I just want to say hello and thank you for joining us. And anybody who's going to watch on the replays, absolutely. Thank you for, you're in the right place. You're going to learn something fun. You're going to have fun with us. So thank you for joining us. But anyway, I digress. Back to our conversation. Something that you mentioned is contrary action. So like you're that little voice was telling you, no, don't eat, but you're like, no, that's not actually true. And you did something that was actually healthy for yourself. Yes. I mean, you didn't go and grab a Snickers bar. You went and got healthy food. You nourished yourself. So you didn't, I like that when you reward yourself with food that nourishes you.
Yes.
As opposed to like, well, I just ran 5 miles, so I'm going to have, like a big bowl of ice cream. That's counterproductive.
Exactly. It doesn't, what are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. No amount of exercise will, cure a bad diet. So it's like, and I always say this too, is like, garbage in, garbage out. So if you want to have like health and wellness, you got to put that in. And so I'm curious though, because you've talked a few things about like meditative state and, that dance is such a, well, obviously it's an important part of your life. I'm just curious, is there, and I always ask this, but it's one of my favorite things to ask, is what kind of practices, daily practices do you do to keep yourself healthy and well, spiritually, physically, and mentally?
So something that definitely kick-started my journey in that sense was affirmations. So I started every morning picking, I have like a little deck of affirmation cards that has different affirmations, like I am strong, but they go deeper, like full sentence affirmations.
Mhm.
So I would grab my affirmation card, read it, memorize it, and I'd set a timer on my phone for 15 minutes and just mentally say this affirmation, say it out loud, and kind of get in this trance and affirming what I'm saying. That's all. That's what an affirmation is. You're affirming what you're saying to make it your reality of what you are doing in your life. If you keep saying, I am stupid, I am stupid, I'm stupid, your brain is not going to know the difference between you saying I am stupid or I am beautiful. So your choice. Do you want to tell yourself I am stupid and believe it and be this version of yourself? Or do you want to tell yourself I am beautiful, I am strong, I am independent, I am worthy? Yeah, I'd rather take from that pile over here. So the more positive words that you feed yourself as well, the more positive and the more confident you're going to feel, because it's going to become your reality. So what I started noticing was when I was doing these affirmations and when I was, this is another added word, manifesting different things that I wanted in my life and started realizing that these were coming to me like a magnet, I was like, okay, this is obviously working. So again, every time I find myself fighting a negative version of myself, which is going into the disordered eating or negative self-thoughts, I know that I'm not going to be attracting that good. So when I am getting that good and I am reminded of that amazing stuff that's coming into my life, then I need to draw my focus in that direction for that to keep pouring into my life present day. So again, it is all a choice. And once you make that choice and once you see those positive things pouring in your life and you feeling better or noticing someone at the store that might smile at you and these moments just start happening and you just feel warm and good, that's where we're supposed to be existing. That's where we're supposed to be. That's why we're here. We want to have this great experience being human. And just like Julie said 5 seconds ago or a while ago, we only have this body and we only have this life once. So your choice. Do you want to be manifesting the good or do you want to be doing terrible self-talk? It's all your choice.
I love that. You know, something that you said, and I want to touch on this and sort of reiterate something, because I know, like for me in the beginning of my spiritual journey, affirmations, I was like, that's a bunch of crap, you know, and I could hear you and I could understand what you were saying, like, you know, because you're not the first person to say that. But I was like, it's a lie. It's a lie. And something that my spiritual mentor said to me that really stuck with me, because one, he doesn't lie, but what he said was, it's not a lie. You're speaking into the future. So it's not, you're just, you know, in advance. You're speaking in advance. And I thought that that was such a great way to put it, because it got my head around the not believing part. And then, yeah. And then the other thing too that I wanted to mention was that your brain can't tell the difference between real and fake. So, you know, it is really important how you speak to yourself. So even if you're joking and you say, I'm stupid, then that's what you're telling yourself. Even
exactly.
If, you know, you're joking, your body doesn't know that. Your brain doesn't know that. So it really is important how you speak to yourself. And I love that you touched on that, because it's such an important component of wellness in general.
Yes. And also not judging yourself either. So for example, when I do have those negative self-thoughts or want to go down into a dark path of not liking myself or loving myself, you sometimes need to remind yourself that, again, those thoughts that are coming into your mind of, oh, these pants make me look weird, or, oh, if only I had this, then I would feel this. A lot of the time, again, those thoughts are just thoughts, and you're able to tell yourself mentally, that's just a thought, stay away from me, you're a bully. Like literally, sometimes thoughts can be bullies. I am my biggest bully. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I heard this a long time ago, but it's, would you talk to somebody the way that you negatively talk to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, no, you'd be so mean. But of course, like, we are ourselves. So we sometimes say that it's okay to talk to ourselves in this negative way when it's not okay. But don't judge yourself for having those thoughts, again, because sometimes you're not in control of those thoughts coming in and out. So be grateful with yourself and forgive yourself if thoughts do negatively come across your brain.
Exactly. It's just you don't have to believe every thought that you think.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's true. And besides, feelings and emotions are fleeting in nature. They
Oh
don't
yeah.
last. So the truth lasts, but anything else will fade away. So, that's
Mhm.
kind of how I look at my feelings sometimes, or my emotions, I should say. Something I actually wanted to touch on is like the beating yourself up and all of that. And like disordered eating, as you mentioned, or even eating disorders. This, Christina, but I worked I've mentioned this before, but that doesn't mean there might be a new person watching the show. So I worked in addiction recovery for years. And, as part of the treatment team, I would sit in once a week for what's called treatment team. And we would talk about all the clients. And I'm telling you right now, there's way more men that seem to have issues than you would ever expect with eating. And it was shocking, and
Yeah.
you just never know. And some of them were good looking and young and thin, and yet they had like this seriously warped perception of themselves. And the thing that I found like extra sad is that with women, it's socially acceptable to look and
Yeah.
talk and have these feelings, but a man is not allowed to, and a man is not allowed to talk about it.
Exactly.
So
That's
I
tragic
love
to me
that.
too. It's sad. It just goes to show that we still have work to do as far as not equality, that's not the right word, but just realizing that guys can experience exactly those same feelings and emotions as women do. I still think it's like, because I follow like a national eating disorder page on Instagram, and I think they had posted like 1 in 3 men have dealt with or are dealing with some kind of eating disorder. And when you look at that and you look at your family, like I have 3 guys in my direct family, that means at one point, one of my brothers or my father has looked at themselves and not liked what they've seen and maybe have internally struggled with some kind of body image issue. But again, we're so used to it exactly just being like a female thing that we don't look at the other side and realize we're not alone. This is, again, like a human experience of all of us experiencing, which is sad. And that should just go away. And we should just already realize that every body is beautiful. So
Yes, thank you. And I kind of wanted to touch on it too, because Thanksgiving is notoriously a food holiday.
oh yeah, it is.
So, that's the thing that I always
Don't starve yourself.
yeah. So for me, I always like to tell my clients, it's Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourself. Don't have guilt about it. You don't need to go bananas and stuff your face. I mean, I kind of eat the same way as if it was all vegetables. So if I'm going to have, X amount of quantity, then I'll just, maybe today it's going to be pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
I don't know. So how do you, is there anything that you do for yourself to try and get yourself out of the mental state? And it doesn't have to be food related. It could just be, we all have relationship issues. And when I say relationship, I mean, we relate to everybody. I'm not talking necessarily romantic. I just mean like with like coworkers or, whatever the case may be. I know for me, I have a certain set of things that I do to get myself back out of that negativity. Is there something that you do, or how do you, because I mean, you're like sunshine in the body.
Transparently, this year and last year are probably the first 2 Thanksgivings in a long time where I haven't felt uncomfortable around food.
That's a big deal.
It's still, it is, and it's very fresh still, because it was one of those things where I would not eat all day long until a Thanksgiving meal, eat, and then still feel guilty about what I ate. But that's not fair to myself, and why do that? So yeah, wake up in the morning, have a nice little breakfast, even if it's just a banana and peanut butter or just something to sustain you a little bit. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, just because, and this is for those that might eat a little bit more on Thanksgiving, just because you do eat that much in a day, Thanksgiving again, does not mean that you carry that into tomorrow.
Yes.
A lot of people, myself included, I have done that. I have had a day where it's like a really bad eating day and I feel like I might eat 1,000 more calories than I'm supposed to. So then the next day, to harm myself, I might starve until the evening, which no, what happened yesterday doesn't matter about today or tomorrow. So for Thanksgiving, especially for those that might be dealing with some kind of eating disorder, disordered eating, eat, but then realize tomorrow doesn't matter at all. You still have to eat for tomorrow. Don't take yesterday's meal into a new day.
Amen to that. And that's the thing too. There's two things that I want to touch on with that in particular is one, the extra calories there isn't going to make that big of a difference. Your body knows how to, stay even. If you keep eating that many calories, then there's going to be an issue. So don't worry about it. But also, if you don't eat the next day, like you said, until way later and you starve yourself or whatever, you are throwing your body out of balance and you are actually causing yourself more harm.
Yeah.
And not only that, like all the guilty feelings and all of that, it causes cortisol. Cortisol, that will give you a little tum-tum. And if you're concerned about the way you look, you might as well just enjoy that pumpkin pie and extra, spoonful of stuffing or whatever it is that you want to eat and enjoy, and just enjoy it because that's what it's for. There's sometimes, food is absolutely fuel, but there's also the purpose behind it. You are coming together with your family. You are sharing this experience, and it's an experience of gratitude. So be grateful.
Yeah. And it's like, exactly. It's a celebration. Yes. And in my culture, which is Italian, like my grandparents, again, Italy, food is a way to come together and to celebrate and to eat around and to talk and to bond. It's very sacred almost in the Italian culture, food. It's actually funny because I don't eat meat. I eat fish, but I don't eat meat. So in my family's eyes back in Australia, they're just like, how could she not be eating the salami? Or because it's almost like a sacred thing. It's like the salami and the meatballs and this meat. It's very personal and it's very, it's not about the food. It's about the food and what it does for the family more so than the actual meal. So exactly, it's not about the Thanksgiving meal and the joy that you find in eating the most delicious pumpkin pie ever. It's the fact that your grandmother made it and she mixed those ingredients together and did it with love more so than the food. So yes, separating those two, food to family emotions, is important also.
No, I love that. I love that so much because yes, a lot of people, that's the case. Food is their love language. That's how they, their love is.
I can attest to that. He loves his food. He loves food. Way to make him happy, bring him a little meal. And he's like, I love you. And I'm like, yes.
There you go. Feed you. Oh, I love that. So we are going to go to commercial break. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And fabulous. So we're going to get going on this because, I want to come back and have some more conversation. Okay.
Yay.
See you in just a minute. So now you understand why I just absolutely love Christina. She is so knowledgeable and so accessible too. So, it's really fun to be able to have a conversation with someone who doesn't try and be perfect. They understand where you're coming from. And, it makes it so much easier to know that you're not alone. It's pretty awesome. But anyway, we are going to go to commercial break. So we'll be right back.
3, 2, 1, 0.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. So, I'm like kind of an idiot. I kind of made the commercial go a little too fast, but that's okay because you guys have probably seen it a couple times. Anyway, so I've been told. There we go. There we go. So this is how you can reach me. If you want to talk to me about anything food related, nutrition, exercise, you want to work together. That is the. Let's see. I can't even do this backwards. You know what I'm trying. There we go. that took way too long. Anyway, you can text me at that number, or if you're interested on being on the show, give me a text and we'll talk for sure. Anyway, let's bring back my good friend and get going on this conversation. Hey,
Hello.
welcome back. Sorry about that. I'm like,
I know it's hard. Everything's like mirrored.
I know, but it's like I know that, and still, still it's so confusing to me every once in a while. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, so while we were at commercial, I was thinking about something that's near and dear to my heart that I need more help with and knowledge about. And you would think that as a personal trainer, that I would be more. I mean, I understand the importance of this, but for some reason, I can't seem to do it for myself, and that is stretching. I want to talk to you about the importance of stretching. Can you please touch on the subject and like why it's so important and what it does for you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so of course, like it's important. Disclaimer, stretching is important. Before activity, and this is just from what's worked for me as a dancer, before activity, during activity, which for me is generally learning choreography, dancing, which is literally, learning choreography, dancing, sometimes working out at the gym, yoga class, whatever. After, also stretching. The reason why before and after is because your body literally needs it. When you're stretching, you are getting your body ready for what it's doing. And then after what you're doing, it's important for your muscles to not just stop, but to almost have a transition into going back into normal daily routine. So it's almost like a pre and post important activity sandwiched in the middle strenuous activity. So
sorry, go ahead.
It's just more so to prep and then get yourself ready to go on with the rest of your day, if that makes sense.
It does, but I know that there's different kinds of stretching, obviously, and I know the answer to this, but what's the difference between dynamic stretching, for example? Most people don't even know what dynamic stretching is. And because, that's what I tend to use before I work somebody out. And then afterwards, it's more static stretching. So can you explain like what that could look like for people?
Right. In my opinion, and for most people that are at home and might have not started their health journey, I would definitely recommend more static stretching. I would recommend finding some kind of pose and then just sitting in it. That's why I found later, this was literally probably like a few years ago, yoga becoming very important in my dance career because it was more finding a place, staying there, feeling that stretch, and then moving on. So for those that are just getting started with stretching and might not have that flexibility or even have the muscle strength to hold different poses or stretches, then I think it's important to sit in butterfly, put your feet together, and then just stretch forward, allow your hips to open up. Or find a lunge and just sit in that lunge and experience what that feels like. Because even with some of my students at the high school that I work at, it's interesting how even just getting into something that might be so simple for someone who has danced since they were 4 years old, that hasn't danced or stretched ever in their lives. So don't, again, judge yourself for not being able to even be in a nice lunge or perfect butterfly, knees up to here. But just find the feeling of experiencing the stretch, but not pain within the stretch as well, which I think is really important just for injury prevention while stretching. It shouldn't be painful. It shouldn't feel painful. You should just feel that stretch.
How much time should people allocate to stretching? And is it an everyday sort of thing?
Honestly, I think for the mindfulness of stretching, it should be done every single day. I found that during quarantine, putting on some music, going up to my old loft, and being able to just take time to be in my body and feel my body and stretch did so much for me for just going through that time of our lives with the quarantine. But even after, if you're one of those people that likes going for walks, that might, again, this is more for those that aren't necessarily into rigorous activity or hasn't done any rigorous activity. More so, go for that nice walk. Maybe jog a little bit for that walk or experience some kind of physical activity. Of course, before doing some light stretches, head stretches, arm stretches, and then afterwards coming home and doing a little bit more as well. Will not just benefit your body, but will benefit your mind, which is ultimately my goal. It's not just about what, and this is for me, what stretching can do for your body. I can get the splits, or I can bring my leg up to my ear. It's not about that. It's about the reward of feeling good and accomplished for yourself, and that dopamine rush that comes from exercise and stretching, which is hormonal and real and will happen. And you will literally feel good if you literally stretch or get some exercise in.
So with static stretching, how long do you recommend people stay in a pose?
Sure. Like 15 to 30 seconds is what I would say is appropriate. But then allowing yourself to pause maybe halfway through, especially for my beginners. If you're, and I'll use butterfly because we probably remember butterfly from just being a kid. Imagine being in butterfly position and then just projecting yourself forward, holding there for about 15 seconds, or maybe 3 really good deep breaths, and then relaxing for a second, maybe readjusting, readapting, and then folding forward again and then stretching. So you could take that break with the breath if you need it, or just stay there. 6 deep breaths, shake it off, move on to something else. So more so breaths than time, if that makes sense.
I like that. And then you are integrating everything. So because it's not, the thing that I'm always talking about on this show is about how, it's not about one part here and one part there and you Frankenstein it all together. It's like you're all connected. My body, soul, everything is connected. And the importance of breath, I had a guest on, I think it was the week before last, and his name's Alex, and he was talking about the importance of breathing and how it can actually affect your health if you don't breathe well. So, it makes perfect sense. And, it also works with your posture. So,
oh yeah, if you've ever heard of, for those that are working remote or at home, and I'm doing it now because I'm on my computer and I'm over. If you have a foam roller or have heard of a foam roller before, it's like this long thing that you can use to roll out your muscles after they're sore and feel painful for a little bit, but it feels good after. You can literally lay a foam roller on the floor. If it's laying this way, let's just pretend, lay your back on top of it and just allow your shoulders to open up and then just exist there for a little bit, and you will feel so good. Try to do that for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. Sounds like a lot, but you could use that as your affirmation time as well. You could use that as time to kind of do a mental checklist. So again, through the stretching, through the breath work, through your activity, you're able to open up a channel to that self-love as well. But again, it's not always easy. Like, I don't always stretch and think, oh, I am light, I am love, I am peace. No, that's not true. This hurts, but it feels really good. But if you find yourself in a stretch and wanting to remove the pain of the stretching or that feeling of the stretching from that experience, then shift your mind's focus to affirming something and shift your mind's focus to just developing a better version of yourself.
Something that I love to remind people of, and just because you said that about shifting your focus, a lot of people really, really don't believe that it's possible to do that. They feel like, but this is real. This is what I'm experiencing. This is my reality. And that may very well be true. However, you do get to choose. And I love to use different examples. But for example, what I'm going to use today is going to be, you're feeling depressed. and not you, I'm just saying in general.
In general.
You're feeling depressed and wow, like I'm home alone for Thanksgiving and I've got nobody to celebrate with and all this. And let's say, you know, like I'm too depressed to, you know, even go whatever. Like I'm too, like you just want to lay in bed. Well, let's say you roll over in your bed because you're too depressed to do anything and you check that lottery ticket that you have sitting there and you just won $3 million. Are you telling me you wouldn't have enough energy to jump out of bed and celebrate?
Exactly. That motivation skyrocket.
All of a sudden, boom, like even if you were sore, like even if there was pain, you'd forget about it because you would be so excited that you just won $3 million. So, I always use that example. And yeah, it's easier said than done with some things, but everything takes practice. And so, you can change your focus so that you're not making it worse. Like pain, real physical pain is physical pain. I mean, there's no way around that. But if you're focusing on it, it makes it worse.
Oh, yeah. And then going back to even just fireworks with my students, play music or listen to music that's going to make the experience better for you as well. Sometimes I will want to stretch and allow and give myself permission to stretch in my feels and make it a little bit more moody or more like dark maybe because I want to. So I'll play like Adele or whatever, or these ballads and stretch and it'll feel great. But those emotions are also pouring out of my muscles. Muscles hold emotions. Your muscles literally hold stress, they hold laughter, they hold sadness, they literally retain emotions. So maybe in those moments of me playing those depressing songs and stretching, is my body also releasing those emotions as well? The mind and the body connection is everything. Like more than the mind and gut connection is everything. So sometimes realizing that doing that stretch, if you might feel depressed or need that motivation, literally doing that stretch or getting that walk in, your body is able to release those toxins and release those emotions that are trapped in your muscles. Even recently when I was sick, my boyfriend and I went for a walk around the lake that's close by. And I was like sore the next day. And I was like, why do I feel sore today? Like I just went for a walk. And reflecting on that, it was probably more sickness and more toxins from having been sick, why my body was sore, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily me being sore. It's the fact that my muscles are releasing toxins and recovering.
Yep, exactly. And something I love that, because I think that I'm known for joy and that's kind of like my thing. But I've always said to people, like, you don't have to be Pollyanna about it. There's, you've got to be able to work through the negative things because those things are going to come up. There's going to be illness or there's going to be death or there's going to be, these things do come up, but how you react to it or respond, which I prefer, depends on will totally change your experience of it. And the thing that I love is that you let your feelings out while you're stretching, like you're in the field, as you said. But then when you're done stretching, you're done. And it's okay to set it down and move on with your day. You don't stick with it, forever. And people get stuck in that sometimes.
Even when it's like a mood. Like sometimes I'll be in a bad mood or will feel sad about something. And I have realized and learned that giving myself permission to feel or cry for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then like, okay, we're good, helps so much. Like there was a day a few weeks ago where like, I just really felt like I needed to cry. I was like, nothing's even wrong right now, but like, I'm literally like, I'm going to start bawling. And I was like, I felt stupid. I was judging myself and I was like, stop judging yourself. If you want to cry, just cry. So I did. I literally bawled my eyes out for like 5 minutes. Breathed and I was like, okay, I'm good. So like sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to realize like be in tune with yourself and listen and realize that if you need to feel some kind of way, that might be a cry or might be in self-pity, like give yourself permission to experience it, but then like tug it away and be like, okay, like I felt it, we're good.
Well, something that you mentioned too is we keep our issues in our tissues.
Yeah.
So, maybe what you were feeling was an old emotion that was finally coming out. So we don't have to name everything that comes out of us.
Mm-mm.
We're meaning making machines. It doesn't have to mean anything. It just is. And like you said, you let it out and you let it go. Now, if you had just not let it out, you could have made up this whole story about,
Oh yeah.
how I don't even know what's wrong with me. Why am I, and then it
Yeah,
makes
and
it.
but then it even gets worse. Had I maybe not given myself those 5 minutes of tears, maybe
Yeah.
later in that evening, my mom could have made a comment that could have made me pop and explode and maybe just start bawling on commit or because of an experience. So exactly, just like allowing yourself to experience something for a little bit, and then it almost saves you later.
It does. It does. And just let it out. Like, just let it out and move forward. So, I want to make sure that we talk about a couple of things that are near and dear to you. I don't mean to be like all jumpy and everything, but
You're good.
water. Let's talk about water first.
Oh my gosh. Well, water, like audience, do you know what water is? Because if you don't know what water is, I don't know. Of course you know what water is. However, I met my boyfriend about a year ago, just over a year ago, and he has a medical grade water machine. And I was like, okay, this is weird. What the heck is this? You have a water machine? Like, I drink from my Brita. So what I didn't realize at the time, and what I've come to learn through this past year about water, is not all water is created equal. The amount of money that water bottle industries are making just selling like it's not fake water, it's still H2O, but there's no quality substance to it. It's all just for money. So basically the water that I drink, is from a medical grade machine that literally is hooked up to my sink. It has 8 medical grade titanium plates in it. It has different options for different pH levels. For example, on my machine, I can literally press 2.5, which is a 2.5 pH. My water literally comes out smelling almost like a bleach. I'm able to use that as a cleaner. We have a 6.0 option, which is the same pH level as our skin. So you can press that button, wash your face with that, and there's a natural toner just from the use of your water and the pH level of your water. For drinking, it's recommended to drink 9.5. So literally, I was amazed when I had first seen the water come out of the machine, because it's almost sparkly and has little hydrogen bubbles, and you're like, what the heck? Like, it's kind of cloudy. Is this good to drink? But that's because the water is electrocuted then and there, and so freshly alkalized, ionized for you to drink, that it's like literally electric still in that moment. And due to the electric process that it goes through, the water molecule is basically turns into a microcluster. So the actual, like, we have H2O right here that's in tap water, which is like a regular cluster of H2O. It gets electrified and goes through a process, it shrinks. So that allows for your body to absorb the water and get into your tissues and make your body feel good without your stomach feeling sloshy, without you even needing to pee in an hour or 2 hours, because that water is just going through your body. This water is literally absorbing into your stomach, into your body, and you feel a difference. So that's just briefly talking about it. I could talk about the water for forever, but the most important thing to take away is, please realize that the alkaline water, or the Essentia, I don't even know the name, I think it's Essentia or something. There's an alkaline water that's in stores for like $5. The only reason why it's alkaline is because they're adding stuff to it, A, and B, by the time it even gets to the shelf in the store, those additives aren't even working anymore. So why spend $5 buying alkaline water that's going to do nothing for you, when you could have a machine in your home that is doing the work for you, fresh? You got your sparkly, beautiful water. It's so soft. Like, literally the first time I drank the water, I was like, wow, it just feels like a soft, silky cloud of water. Like, it's very hard to explain, but it's incredible. So
Well, there's a few things that you talked about that I think that I really want to make sure, because I'm like obsessed with water and like having good water. And there's a few things. One is you talked about the having to pee thing. And what people don't understand about drinking tons of water is that it's kind of like the state of California when it rains.
yeah,
The rain just like doesn't go into the ground. It just washes off into the ocean. And that's sometimes what happens when you drink water. So there's, like with what you're talking about, that's one way to get it, like your cells, as opposed to just runoff.
Exactly. And you feel a difference. Like I can't drink normal water anymore. Like having had this machine and drinking this water, it's kind of like a no-brainer that like everyone should have this machine in their house. Everybody should be drinking the freshest of the fresh water. Like I'm sure, have you heard of like the Fountain of Youth, or just those places in like Europe where the water is like, that water is essentially what the 9.5 water is that's coming from the machine. So I'm literally drinking Fountain of Youth water every single time I'm getting thirsty. Every single time I'm drinking. So,
well, I mean, something that you mentioned too is, and people are like, "Oh, I just drink from a hose. I grew up. I'm just fine." But there is a difference in quality, and it's like calling Taco Bell Mexican food.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it might have some flavors of Mexican food, but it is not Mexican food. And
exactly. And the benefits too. Like I might not be perfect with this ratio, but to my knowledge, I think 1 cup of my special water is equivalent to like 8 cups of antioxidants and blueberries. So I'm not just getting the benefits of it being microclustered, absorbing into my stomach, into my muscles, into my body, into my hair, into my skin, but I'm also getting antioxidants. So I don't need supplements for antioxidants. I get that from my water. I get my cleaner from my water. I get my toner from my water. I get my vegetable cleaning, 11.5 or on the machine will literally strip the pesticides from your food to the point where your organic food too, like you got to wash that stuff also. If you're not, wash it with 11.5. You soak tomatoes in it, literally turns like a yellow color. Like you can see the oil-based pesticides just stripping from the food when you rinse it in the 11.5. So you wouldn't feed that oily pesticides to your family, but a lot of us are. So you just have to wash it with the good stuff.
So where do people get these machines?
You can reach out to me. I would love to talk more about the machines because again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I would love to well educate you further on the machines. And then if you would like to, if you live in the Orange County area, I would love to deliver water to you. I will give you 5 gallons of water for you to just drink the water, experience the water. And then if you're wanting to get a machine, then we can chat further.
I love it. And they can just go to your website then?
Yes, go to my website. On the contact me page, you will see a whole section for you to email me. Or again, my Instagram as well. You can message me there. Anywhere, I will get back to you. We can set up a Zoom call. We can set up a call. We can text, whatever you're comfortable with. And I'd love to chat about it more or anything we talked about today.
And what about CBD? Let's touch
on God, CBD. Well, I didn't realize how much I needed good quality CBD in my life until I had it. And I actually have like some products next to me right now. But first of all, CBD, long story short, every body has the endocannabinoid system, which is a system that is equivalent to the skeletal system or the digestive system. It is a system that exists in our body that regulates through homeostasis your mood, your emotions, pretty much everything is regulated by your endocannabinoid system. So that's the importance of CBD, is to make sure that that system is happy, that it's satisfied. A lot of products use oil-based connectors or binders with their CBD that unfortunately, after going through the stomach and after going through your liver, you're really only getting 10% of the CBD's benefits. The product that I use called Ojai Energetics, They are a full spectrum water soluble product. The tincture is. It's USDA organic, which is incredible because I don't want to be putting, again, more pesticides, more like lint or whatever just into my system. That's just not good. But more importantly, the tincture changes flavor when your endocannabinoid system is happy. So literally when I was sick last week, I did 2 full droppers of tinctures. It tasted hempy. It tasted bitter. It tasted not good. I had to do 3 more additional ones. So 5 full vials of my CBD until it tasted like a sweet honey. So when the CBD tastes like a sweet honey, your endocannabinoid system is literally telling you based on flavor, you're good. Thank you. I'm fed. I appreciate the love. So that's why this company also patented this. So this is the only company that's going to have this forever. And yeah, that's pretty much, again, the tip of the iceberg with the tincture. But I also have a coconut oil and a sports gel available. Same thing, USDA approved, water soluble, instant absorption. You combine the CBD that's water soluble with my water, and you have a match made in heaven. So you have the great water, you have your body all lubricated and ready to go. You sprinkle that CBD and mix that with it, and you're gonna be feeling like $1,000,000.
So is this something that you're also like an ambassador for, or?
No, not quite. So again, my boyfriend knows the salesman. I don't know if that's exactly what he does over at the company. And he is able to get product, and we're just able to give back and sell to family, friends at a discounted rate.
Oh, fabulous.
That's simple. So if you're interested in product again, or more information on the product, reach out to me, and I would love to further educate and share more information, because again, there's just so much that just like, we need to talk about it more.
Absolutely. So I'm just, we're running out of time, but I really am curious. So obviously a lot of people, myself included, was like, I'm never touching that. That's weed. You know, like there's drugs in that. Why would I put drugs in my system? So can you explain in as like layman's terms as possible?
Oh yeah.
Why this is different.
This is different because CBD is not THC. THC in marijuana gets you high. CBD feeds your endocannabinoid system and leaves you feeling excellent. So they're different. They are from the same plant, just like roses. We have different kinds of roses. We have yellow roses, white roses. Marijuana is the same kind of thing. We have different kind of cannabis plants. So the CBD, that's good. Your body is going to thank you and appreciate that. The THC, if you want to get stoned, go and smoke something. Yeah, that's different.
Gotcha. So one last time, I'm going to pop this up here. I just want to thank you so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Well, Christina, I will talk with you soon. I love you so much.
Yeah, love you as well. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, I just love her so much. She is such a sweetheart. I just wanted to say, you know, enjoy your Thanksgiving. And obviously you can reach me through here if you need to, you want to, or anything fun like that. But until then, we'll see you on Monday.